Solo travel was something I had been dreaming about for years, and after countless hours spent researching and planning this trip, I couldn't believe that it was finally a reality. So here I was traveling 1,000 miles away from home, just 5 days after my high school graduation. After saying goodbye to my friends and family and reassuring my parents that I would come home alive, I was off. After a quick 24-hour travel day, I landed in Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik is known as the Pearl of the Adriatic and is one of the most well-preserved medieval cities in the world. It was built in the 7th century and the whole city is enclosed in a wall that is over a mile long and is up to 80 feet tall in certain points. The moment I stepped off the bus after arriving in Dubrovnik was when it really hit me. The sense of freedom that I felt, it was indescribable. I was 6,500 miles away from home with 10 days to just explore and do whatever I want. After getting settled in at my hostel, I walked down to the beach that was a 2-minute walk away. This was my first real view of the Adriatic Sea and it did not disappoint. The water was so clear and the entire surroundings was absolutely beautiful. After staying at the beach for a couple minutes, I decided to hike up Mount Surd for the sunset. I made it to the top just in time for golden hour and it was absolutely breathtaking. I hiked back down as the sun was setting and just like that, my first day in Croatia was over. The next day was my beach day and I made my way over to Banhe Beach, which was about a 10-minute walk from my hostel. I spent a few hours reading and just soaking up the sun. The beach was rocky, not sandy, so I had to wear my chacos the whole time, but the water was the perfect temperature and it was so clear. After spending some time at the beach, I took a ferry over to Hvar Island. Typically the ferry costs about 30 euros, but since I was still considered a child, I got my ticket for only 7 euros. Hvar Island was first used for religious purposes back in the 11th century, and parts of the monastery still remain. Monks were forcefully removed from the island in the 1800s and the island is said to be cursed because of it. It is also a protected nature reserve, so no one is allowed to stay there overnight. There are also peacocks everywhere on the island. The whole island was so beautiful and well preserved and is easily one of my favorite parts of Dubrovnik. The next day I bought the Dubrovnik Pass, which was only 40 euros and let me see many of Dubrovnik's historical sites in and outside of the walls. I was able to see Lovranik Fortress, Rector's Palace, and many of the other historical sites and museums. The best part about this pass is that it allowed me to walk around the city walls, and it was such a cool experience to be able to see the whole city from that perspective. As I was walking around the walls, I looked down and saw people jumping off of a cliff from a bar. So after I was done, I went and found that bar and decided to jump off the cliff myself. Just like that, my time in Dubrovnik was up and it was time to head over to Hvar. After porting into Hvar, I made my way over to my next hostel, and this one was way nicer than the last one. I arrived pretty late in the day, so all I really had time for was to do some grocery shopping and to walk around the city a little bit. I woke up the next day ready for a nice beach day. The beach was about a 20-minute walk from my hostel. I was at the beach for about 3 hours, just reading and swimming. I would have spent way longer there if I wasn't worried about getting burnt, because the beaches in Croatia were absolutely beautiful. After the beach, I headed back to my hostel to rinse off and change before hiking up to Napoleon's Fortress, and then to Bruges, which was the next town over. As I was walking, I realized I hadn't put on my makeup, so I didn't have any sunscreen on my face, and I ended up getting super burnt. I ended up walking about 6.5 miles in total. Because I was so sunburned, I tried to stay out of the sun for the most part the next day, so I took a hike up to Trnava Fortress and spent about an hour there just taking in the view and reading a little bit. I then decided to spend some more time exploring Hvar, and it was such a cool town and had the cutest little shops. At lunchtime, I decided to go find a restaurant because I had mostly been surviving off of bread and jam up to that point. I found this rooftop restaurant and I ordered an authentic fresh shrimp dish, and it was one of the best meals I'd had in my life. Hvar was such a cute little island town with some of the best beaches I had ever been to, and it attracted such a fun crowd, and I really enjoyed getting to know some people that I met there. The next day I left Hvar and I was headed for Split. I ended up boarding the wrong ferry, and it freaked me out a little bit when the ferry left 25 minutes before I was expecting it to. But luckily it was also going to Split and not someplace like Italy. Split was originally a Roman palace built in 300 AD for the Roman Emperor Diocletian after he retired. Diocletian's palace is actually one of the best preserved Roman ruins in the world. I honestly had mixed feelings about Split. I loved learning the history of the Romans and seeing the palace that was built there. I also loved hiking around Moran Hill at sunset. I was able to find a pretty nice beach that was a 30-minute walk from my hostel, and Split had the best gelato I have had in my life. Split was a lot more janky than any of the other cities that I had just visited in Croatia. The beaches weren't as well maintained, nor was the city. There was a lot of trash just on the streets, and there was a lot of construction that I had to pass to get anywhere outside of the main city. I took a day trip from Split, and it was the best part of my entire trip. Plitvice is one of Europe's most visited national parks, and for a good reason. Plitvice is genuinely the most beautiful place I have ever been in my life. I spent hours just walking around the park, marveling at the turquoise water and all of the waterfalls. I really wish I had more time to spend here, and I would love to go back someday. The next morning, I had to catch a super early flight, so I woke up at 3 a.m. to check out of my hostel and catch an Uber to the airport. Overall, Croatia is such a beautiful country, and I believe that everyone should add it to their bucket list. My first solo trip was amazing, and I would recommend solo travel to anyone that's considering it. I felt so much freedom, and I was able to learn so much about myself that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to if I had taken the trip with other people. I am so excited to go on more solo trips in the near future. I mainly made this video as a little memento for myself and for any of my friends and family to watch, but if you'd like to hear more about my trip, please just reach out. I'd love to talk more about it. And I'll see you after my next adventure.